Good evening. This is Shahab. I'm actually going to talk about the recent non-traditional environmental issues that the Indian subcontinent is facing. The moment we say Indian subcontinent, I'm essentially referring Bangladesh, India, Nepal, and Bhutan. Two things are actually happening right now in Bangladesh. Is we are seeing sea level rise, and then we are also seeing a huge infusion of salinity in our water system. Now this is happening for one reason. The reason is basically our freshwater supply from the upper riparian sources of water is depleting, which is essentially keeping a way for the salty water to come in a layman's word, which is essentially the salinity is increasing. That means it is affecting our entire ecosystem. I may mention that we have the largest delta in the world that caters to almost like 122 million people, which spans from the middle India to lower India and Bangladesh and all the way to Myanmar, and also it covers northeastern side of India and Nepal, obviously. Now what happens is this gives you a kind of an uncomfortable situation for the state of Bangladesh, where the ecosystem is getting disrupted due to the salinity. Now, how do we solve these problems? Our forests are actually dying, and then there is a huge possibility for relocation, need for relocation. Internal displacement is going up, and obviously that is causing serious disruption in consumption pattern. So now we are seeing less precipitation in the due time, but on the other hand we are witnessing more violent, more stronger tornadoes and storms, cyclones. So that is creating more difficulty in sustaining our forests as well as livelihoods, those are dependent on the forest. So we have the largest forest, mangrove forest in the world, that's called Sundarbans. Now that's one country perspective. So how do we do that? So to keep our forests alive, to keep our ecosystems alive, and to attain benefits from our ecosystems, we certainly need to ensure the flow of water. Now water is no longer an issue of one particular state, it is transboundary. It is transboundary in a sense that the source of these rivers, what we call the Great Ganges, is Nepal. Now, it is being obstructed through three major causes. A, is pollution, obviously. B, hydroengineering, which is pretty much colonial, and we are yet to develop more scientific, more modern engineering capacity to deal with our water management. And three is the political dimensions. Now, if we really want to sustain our livelihoods, and if we really want to create an environment where cooperation can be sustainable, we need to ensure that the transboundary water management remains quote-unquote apolitical. Now, when we call apolitical, whether it is possible or not, well, here in an utopian sense, it is not possible. But when we say that practically it is possible, the reason is what we need is political will. Political will from the Nepalese government, political will from Indian government, as well as political will from Bangladesh. So water is no longer an issue that can be dealt by a single entity or a single government. So that's one. The second part is obviously what will happen if we don't really go for cooperation in terms of water. It will not only affect the 160 million people that we have in Bangladesh, but it will also affect severely the more than 120 million people in India. So your food consumption pattern will change. When food consumption pattern is changing, it will affect your GDP. So when GDP is being affected, essentially you're losing GDP, which is obstructing your healthy growth. So it is now linked with sustainable growth, sustainable development. Several initiatives have been taken in South Asia between Bangladesh, India, Nepal. We have signed several treaties. We have a great Ganges treaty with India, Bangladesh has. Despite that, what is problematic is still we haven't been able to ensure the flow of water. So we don't have flow of water, which means our food production is actually getting obstructed, and then salinity is actually losing. We are losing our crop because the salinity is going up. So it's high time for us to look for meaningful cooperation. We can definitely study how Mexico and the United States resolved their transboundary water issues. Look at the case of the Danube Commission. A number of countries are actually managing it. Look at the Nile. It is being managed by different countries in North Africa, West Asia. So these are the meaningful cooperation methods I think we should look into. And we are in a platform, Strategic Studies Network. I think this is a great platform where we can discuss the issues in a candid manner, free and flow way. I mean, the flow of discussion is quite interesting, which means this is actually creating a platform for confidence among different countries, whether it is between Syria, Turkey and Yemen, or it is between Bangladesh, Nepal, India, or hence look at the water crisis that is looming in the Middle East. So we need to actually look into the water issue as a national security concern. It is a regional security concern, and definitely it is an international security concern. So I have given you an example of Bangladesh and India and Nepal, but that means that these are the conflicts issues. The water will essentially become the source of major tension in probably next 50 years of time, and we can't afford to do that. So therefore, before it is too late, I think the platforms like